I would now like to invite Dr. Prakash Rao to speak a few words.
Jai Guru Datta, Jai Guru Hanuman. I want to express my deep appreciation to our Sadguru, Sri Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji, and His Holiness Sri Datta Vijayananda Tirtha for honoring and also giving me the opportunity to speak on this occasion. My association started in 1990. In 1993, Sri Swamiji blessed me to be the chairman of Datta Yoga Center, USA. Over this period, directly or indirectly, silently or verbally, Sri Swamiji instilled many ideas, influenced many of my values, shaped moral compass, instilled discipline, helped to appreciate the richness of Hinduism, inspired me to look at the need for preserving grandeur of our faith, motivated me to do my dharmic duty to my faith and many other ways. Distraught by the plight of Hindu temples, distressed by the discriminatory policies of the government, disturbed by the large-scale abuses of the temples, agitated by the near total indifference of Hindus toward their religion, I, along with many other friends, started Global Hindu Heritage Foundation in 2006 with a sole mission to work toward the repeal of Endowment Act. This is the only major decision I made without seeking Swamiji's permission, because I was very passionate about the cause. It was so painful to see the animosity, hatred, discrimination against Hindu temples by the government, and felt at the time that I would be devastated mentally if Swamiji did not approve my request to start the organization. But anyway, I want to express my appreciation to Swamiji and Bala Swamiji for their valuable vision, as well as many other ways that how they helped. The song, Bharatamata Sevakai, Bratuku Dara Boidam. Bharatamata Sevakai, Bratukanta Daraboi, meaning sacrifice your life to save Bharatamata. The chorus, Bharatamata ki Jai, meaning victory to Bharatamata, is so powerful, so capturing, so mighty, and so relevant for all the times, and eternal message of that song left indomitable imprint on my mind, evoked sense of responsibility as a child of Bharatamata, and inspired me to do my dharma, however minuscule it may be, to my mother country. This is the song, as you all know. Swamiji composed it, he sang it, many of us have listened to it, but we have not started implementing it or practicing it. The gist of the song, according to my own impression, is that we need to sacrifice our lives in serving Bharatamata. Sing with one voice, loudly, by opening your hearts to bring back the glory, grandeur, splendor, and magnificence of Bharatamata by arresting our selfishness, egoism, greediness, narrow-mindedness, and we shall fight with might for the welfare of our people. Let us all pray for divine blessings to give us enough strength to serve our fellow human beings. Spread the fragrance of Sachidananda to everyone through the message of Lord Dattatreya. Then, then why would Swamiji compose and sing that song with so much passion, so loudly in a piercing voice to capture the attention and inspire the listeners? Why would he ask us to fight for Bharatamata? What is so great about Bharatamata? Let us ask ourselves a question. Do we think Swamiji would compose such a song unless he felt the message of universal brotherhood, universal tolerance, non-violence, independence, liberty, freedom is the need of the hour for peaceful coexistence and survival of human race itself? If Swamiji has not sensed the direction of Bharatamata is going, and abrogation of her children's responsibility to their motherland, do we think the admonition would slip from Swamiji's lips? Obviously, there is a message that all of us have to learn. What kind of Bharatamata we once had, what we used to think, and why we have to serve her and protect her. In 11th century, a Muslim writer, Al-Biruni, observed that Hindus believe that there is no country like theirs, no nation like theirs, no kings like theirs, no religion like theirs, and no science like theirs. To know more about Bharatamata, what it stands for, how our children enjoyed the riches and compassion, let us look at the tapestry of our sacred land over the millennia. In order to grasp the richness of our culture, to understand the grandeur of our civilization, to admire the scientific advancement, to appreciate the depth of genius of the Hindu mind, to fathom the diversity of wide variety of scriptures, to visualize the value toward freedom and liberty, and to applaud the intellectual freedom, we have to travel back to 2000 years to find out how our ancient rishis have shaped our society and handed over the only civilization that has not been demised yet. It is not just enough to appreciate, laud, pride ourselves in the past glory. Bharatamata is being neglected, ignored, abused, stabbed, suffocated, and being subjugated in all directions and from all communities within and without, including all our Hindu brothers, may even be mercilessly. Not long ago, Hindu art, temples, religion have flourished in Burma, Tibet, Nepal, Mongolia, Sri Lanka, Java, Thailand, I can name many of them, and many South American countries. Many Middle Eastern countries have also imported culture from India. It is through mere strength of our philosophy, our fables, our morals, our gentleness, and our tolerance, our scriptures, our creativity, and our love for others. India was able to exercise great influence on the cultures all over the world. A former Chinese ambassador to USA, Hu Xin, observed, India conquered and dominated China for 20 centuries without ever having to send a single soldier across the border. Mark that word. Never a single soldier across our borders to conquer or stab other nations. Many scholars came to our country and they have written quite a bit about what Hinduism stands for or Bharatamata stands for. Megasthenes in 4th century during Chandragupta time, he observed the Hindus live happily enough, being simple in their manners and frugal. They never drink wine except at sacrifices. They have no suits about pledges and deposits, nor do they require either seals or witnesses, but make their deposits and confide in each other. Fa Hein, another Chinese ambassador, also visited Gupta period. He observed, he was astonished at the free hospitals and the charitable institutions found in the country. He further goes on to say, the people are numerous and happy. Throughout the whole country, the people do not kill any living creature, not eat onions or garlic. The only exception is the lower class. In that country, they do not keep pigs or fowls, they do not sell live cattle, and they do not have butcher shops. Another Chinese ambassador, Chinese traveler, they do not practice deceit, and they keep their sworn obligations. Like that one, there are a number of, we will publish this article later on, but number of references to show how people lived in Bharat for 2,000-3,000 years. And Mark Twain finally, he says, land of religions, cradle of human race, birthplace of human speech, grandmother of legacy, great-grandmother of tradition, the land that all men desire to see, and having seen once even a glimpse, would not give that glimpse for the shores of the rest of the globe combined. Imagine that word. He never, even once anybody has a glimpse of India, he would not trade that glimpse for the rest of the glimpses of the world. Very powerful statement. Then we come to the Ramarajya, which we have witnessed for so many centuries. We all remember the adage, Yatha Raja Tada Praja. As the king, so were the subjects. Also, the guiding Vedic principle, Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara, which Swamiji also mentioned the other day, was the ideal to be followed in the kingdom. It means to speak the truth and practice righteousness. Let us remember the state of Bharatamata in Vedic period. In one of the Upanishads, king responding to a question by visiting Rishi regarding the state of affairs in the country, the king says, in my kingdom, there is no thief, no miser, no drunkard, no man without an altar in home, no ignorant person, no adulterer, no much less adulteress. Krishna Deva Raya time. So a lot of people came and visited, and they were amazed at some of the things they have seen. And one of the travelers says that such that eye has not seen nor ear heard of any place resembling it upon the whole earth. That is Vijayanagar that we are talking about. And then looking at the Harshavardhana period, a Chinese traveler observed, every 5 years, Harshavardhana conducted a great festival of charity by inviting all officials of religions and all poor and needy of the realm. At this gathering, it was his custom to share the surplus brought into the state treasury. So he is to give everything that he has accumulated over the last 5 years, including the pearls and perfumes, flowers, garments, and so on and so on. It used to take about 3 to 4 months to give away all the things. At the end, King Harshavardhana divested himself. He used to give his own clothes, all his ornaments, and then concluded the ceremony. So that is Bharat. That is what we are looking for, and that is the kind of morals that we are expecting from other people. Riches are distributed to the rightful owners, the people, not to the greedy, gluttonous, and grabbing people. That is what Bharatamata evokes in our mind. She is calling for a few good people like you to come for her rescue. This is what we need to work for, to sacrifice our life. And Hindu mind, the noble mind of India, without having had the necessity of having recourse to experimental science like us, discovered the truths which we discover after them. By the unaided power of meditation, they have given an explanation of the universe which appeared ridiculous to us at this time, but many scholars have come to the same conclusion. Sister Nivedita also mentioned the same thing. Like a searchlight or an X-ray, it should pierce the densest wheel of matter. It should be able to penetrate in the hearts of the people. So, a lot of people have talked about how our science and religion have been integrated and we are not afraid of science. Hindu mind is ingenious, inventive, imaginative, creative, and inspirational. It is known as yogic mind, dharmic mind, atomic mind, atmic mind, Vedic mind. Hindu mind invented zero and calculated phi and many other scientific advances. Now, Hindus have been always independent thinkers. Freedom, liberty, independence, inventiveness, objectivity, and openness were the hallmark of Bharatamata's mind. Bharatamata allowed them, embraced them. 1,000 centuries ago, they exercised their freedom to explore and expand to areas that are unknown to mankind. And this is the mind that you and I have inherited. You need to be the champions of this freedom to move forward and help the human race to live in peace and prosperity, not fear, not terror, not torture. Hindu mind has always pushed every conceivable idea and every known theory to the ultimate, with no inhibitions, no dictums, no restrictions from the higher authority. Now, we are shrinking in numbers. Conversion must be stopped. Cow slaughter must be banned. Eradicate terrorism. Repeal Endowment Act. Throw out minority appeasement. Defeat communal violence bill. Sack secularism from the Constitution itself. Make Bharat a spiritual country. We never conquered, invaded, pillaged, terrorized any country. Bharatamata was conquered and exploited by many countries over the last 1,000 years. As the former president mentioned, yet we have not done this to any other nation. We have not conquered anyone. We have not grabbed their lands, their culture, their history, tried to enforce our way of life. That's why? Because we respect the freedom of others. Freedom. If we do not act, whatever freedom we are enjoying today, we may be losing in front of our eyes. It may be slipping from our fingers. Hindus should not sit idle, remain silent, stay as a spectator, and turn their heads the other way when our Bharatamata is being attacked. Select group of Hindus are responsible for suffocating, demeaning, denigrating, damaging, deprecating, and disparaging our mother. That is Mother India. It is our dharma to protect the mother that has made us what we are today. Some of her children are stabbing their mother, breaking her limbs, sacrificing her interests, and starving her by robbing her resources. We cannot close our eyes, shut our mouth, plug our ears, tie our hands, chain our feet, ignore the impending danger of losing our motherland. We shall have to join the movement to protect her from being rooted out from this sacred land. Let us remember the words of Plato. The price good men pay for indifference is to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. So otherwise, we have no place to run, no place to hide. That is the reason we must sacrifice our life for Bharatamata, and that is the message of the song of Bharatamata by Sri Swamiji. So, final quotation, as Swami Vivekananda exhorted, stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. All the strength and succor you want is within you. I want to thank Sri Swamiji, Balaswamiji, Prasadji for recognizing whatever I have been doing it. So I want to just thank one more time our Swamiji, and I want to thank my wife who puts up with all these things over the last so many years. Thank you so much. Jai Guru Datta, Jai Guru Hanuman. Victory.